Now this tank is looking absolutely magnificent. Fish look very, very healthy. Everyone's looking exceptionally vibrant. Nobody's fat. If anything, maybe they're a tiny, tiny bit on the skinny side. Pretty cool tank. It's nicely populated. I would be interested to know how often this is used. Oh, we don't want that. Okay, so see how there's pebbles under that? That'll end up scratching your glass up. So we've got one scratch here. So far so good, doesn't look too bad. But these magnet cleaners are so wonderful until you get a pebble caught underneath them. So it's really convenient to have these on the front of the tank. But the disadvantage is if the kids get hold of it and it ends up getting gravel on the inside, then that'll scratch the crap out of your glass. So far so good. I'm really only seeing one scratch. So I'm going to call this dodging a bullet. Maybe one there, maybe. I reckon we're talking 2 scratches tops. So this is dodging a bullet, this one. Because there's nothing worse than having a magnet cleaner, which is the most wonderful way of keeping the tank clean. But if you get a bit of gravel caught in it, then you just stuff your whole tank up. Wow. Lucky times. So once again, if we put more fish in this, that's when your maintenance goes up. Considering how long it's been since I've been here, it's looking really good. Looks really good. So I would recommend not adding more fish. There's plenty of cool, interesting and different fish in here. There's plenty to look at, but it isn't overpopulated. I'd like them with a little bit more food, but just a tiny bit, not going silly. Definitely don't want to come back next time and find they're all fat and the tank's real dirty. Very nice. So once again, it's very common that when I leave, once I've disturbed it all up and cleaned the gravel and so forth, it's going to look worse. Like, it looks really great now. Once I disturb it all and clean the filter, it'll quite often look worse when I leave, but that's normal. What a tank, wow. Now, fish keeping is 50% water quality and 50% food quality. Now, at the moment, what we were feeding was some flake. If you're ever going to feed flake, this is the flake I want you to feed. New Life Spectrum. It's very good for the smaller fish. I don't want it as a major part of the food, but giving this little guy something to eat is a great idea. Now this one, very good. It's sort of running low, so I could do with some more of this. And chucking some wafers in to get it down to the catfish and let the slower fish have an opportunity to feed. I'm very happy with that too. Now this one is the main food that I want you to feed. This is Spectrum's probiotics. It's about the cleanest food on the market, and it has the probiotic bacteria in it, which means that when the fish poo, the bacteria in the poo eats the poo. So this is the main food I want you to feed. And I'm going to leave this one as well. Now this is Danichi Color. This one is the one that makes the fish super colourful. And it's also a fair bit larger pellet, just to once again distribute the advantage. If we have smaller large, medium. It's going to give everyone a better opportunity to get food. The other thing is that's a floating food. That's a sinking food. So when you're feeding a mix of floating and sinking foods, then you'll find that the fish that do better with floating food are going to get an advantage there. The fish that do better with sinking food is going to get an advantage there. So considering pellet size and considering whether it floats or sinks is something to look at. And I want this to just be a part of the diet. I think this is going to help improve the colour of the fish. And I still want that to be the major food that is going to get introduced to this tank. But considering I haven't been here for a while, I'm very happy with this tank. Well, nothing talks you out of keeping fish better than a noisy old air pump. So I think we need to replace this one. So if I hold it at the right angle, it's pretty quiet. But I think time to replace this fella here. So I've just replaced that air pump, put a nice silent one on it. And it makes basically no sound at all. It doesn't have to sound like a helicopter landing in your lounge room. So much nicer. Now we also want to be just a little bit careful to make sure that we're feeding, or make sure we feed the fish, not the lids. It's really easy, just especially with a tall tank like this, just to chuck food over the top. But if it means you're getting fish all over the lids, it's sort of not ideal because you'll end up getting yourself some cockroaches, and it's a great way to make your tank a bit stinky. Just open this filter up to give it a clean. All in all, it looks pretty good. The sponge on the top needs a clean. It's not too bad. The poly filter definitely needs replacing. See how that's very dark? So I'll put some new poly filter in. And then the Marine Pure looks pretty good. But I'm also going to wiggle in some activated carbon because the tank does have a bit of driftwood in the water. So I'm hoping that the activated carbon might help to clear up the little bit of tannin and make the water a little bit clearer. So considering how long it's been since I've cleaned this filter, I'm very happy with it. Water looks great. But I will replace some filter material now, and I think that will make the tank run even better. I reckon some activated carbon in any tank with driftwood and polyfilter in every aquarium is a real secret. That, along with the Marine Pure balls, which are offering parallel denitrification, then you can be amazed how long you can go without a filter clean with this sort of filter material. Now, whenever you fill up a canister filter, you've got to wait for it to fill up with water before you turn it on, and always keep checking, particularly around the head of the O-ring, a little dribble of water coming out, and also around wherever the taps are, because if you get a bit of hair or a bit of waste or whatever and it stops the O-ring from sealing, then you can get a little dribble of water out, and it can be very easy to miss it, particularly if you're a service guy and you come here and you give the fish a clean and then off you go. The worst thing you want to do is leave a little bit of a dribble, especially when it's so easy to fix. All you have to do to fix it is to take it apart, give the O-ring a clean, and the O-rings, put it all back together again. Generally it's beautiful because generally you've wiped off whatever it was, and then if you need to, you could use a bit of O-ring lube, or if you had to, Vaseline, and just give it a reseal, and away it goes.